Hey everyone, James back here, and today's video will be a team report about the team that I used at the Pokemon World Championship, got through Seniors LCQ, which is Last Chance Qualifier, and went 3-3 at Worlds. And I love this team so much since it's pretty much my most accomplished team ever, and I'll be walking you guys through all the members, what they did, etc. If you want to know more about my battles, my team building process, etc., you should definitely check out my report on nuggetbridge.com. It will be in the description down below. But anyway, let's get to the team right now. So first we have Sawk. Now, I've been experimenting a long time with all the different fighting types. If you guys don't know, before Worlds, Kangaskhan was like the biggest Mega Evolution ever, and it was such a threat, it was used on pretty much every team, that I knew it was going to be popular at Worlds. And you really need to counter Kangaskhan at Worlds if you want to do well. So, I decided Choice Scarf Sawk. I saw Ashton Cox use it at US Nationals, and I decided I did use Sawk in 2011 when I did play, not as competitively obviously, but I did try Choice Banded Sawk until I replaced it with Terrakion. But anyway, Sawk was always a fun Pokemon for me, and I decided, why not give it another try? So, because it had Inner Focus, it could actually KO Kangaskhan with close combat, I never regretted it. I mean, the only other Pokemon with Inner Focus that's a fighting type was like Mienshao, that was faster, that could outspeed Kangaskhan, but it really couldn't KO it unless you're using the very unreliable high jump kick. Sawk's Inner Focus was very handy, especially since most players couldn't fake out the Sawk, and close combat knocks out the Kangaskhan in one hit. Choice Scarf obviously, since Sawk cannot outspeed Jolly Kangaskhan without a Choice Scarf. The moveset was Close Combat, Rock Slide, Poison Jab, and Sleep Talk. Close Combat was obvious, it was Sawk's most powerful stab move, gets the KO on Kangaskhan's, even most of the time at -1. Rock Slide, I needed a good way to hit Charizard. Sawk was basically my Mega counter. It counters Mega Lucario, Mega Kangaskhan, and Mega Charizard Y. So, Sawk was really my best Mega counter. Rock Slide, because it was holding a Choice Scarf and I could get the flinches, I decided not to put Stone Edge because I always miss Stone Edge when I use it. And Rock Slide could get me a useful flinch even though it actually didn't in the actual tournament, but that's okay. Poison Jab was an interesting move choice. I was trying to figure out a heavy way to deal with fairies such as Gardevoir and Azumarill, and I decided that Poison Jab would let me hit those Pokemon for some super effective damage and could KO frailer versions of Gardevoir and do a lot to Azumarill. Sleep Talk. Sleep Talk was the most interesting choice out of my Sawk. The reason is because I didn't know Sawk had Taunt, so if I knew it had Taunt, I probably would have put it on. But Sleep Talk was my preference. Most people went for Double Kick like Ashton Cox to get rid of Smeargle because Double Kick breaks Focus Sash. I wasn't really that scared of Smeargle. The only one I could really use this set effectively is against Choice Scarf Smeargle, where I can use Sleep Talk since Choice Scarf Smeargle outspeeds my Sawk, and it sets up a Dark Void. I could Sleep Talk and then get a move off. Sleep Talk came in handy in practice many times, believe it or not. I was able to switch in Sawk into a Spore from Amoonguss, Sleep Powder from Venusaur or Jumpluff, etc. and was able to Sleep Talk next turn and actually do some work instead of having a Pokemon sleeping the entire battle. And I never regretted Sleep Talk, even though I didn't actually use it at Worlds. It was still a really great move choice for me. I really loved it. And even though I'd probably replace it with Taunt now, I still had many opportunities to actually switch Sawk into a Spore at Worlds and use Sleep Talk. Even though I didn't make those plays, it was still an option that I had, which I really liked. For the EV spread, I ran Max Attack Adamant because I knew I needed Sawk to hit hard, hit fast, and KO bulkier variants of, let's say, Kangaskhan or Charizard Y with Rock Slide. 228 speed allows me to hit a speed stat of 134, which with a Choice Scarf, giving it a 1.5 boost, let it hit a speed stat of 201, which allows me to outspeed Max Speed Aerodactyl and Max Speed Mega Gengar, which was very helpful. And I didn't want to waste extra EVs into the speed since base 130 is usually the highest Speed stat. 28 HP was the remaining leftover EVs I had. I decided that since Sawk has better bulk than most Pokemon, I decided to put that bulk into HP, and Sawk was actually pretty bulky during the tournament. It survived a couple moves, and I never regretted this EV spread, and yeah. My next Pokemon was Choice Banded Talonflame, and as you can see by the EV spread, which we will get into a minute, it is quite complicated. So my item was Choice Banded Talonflame. Talonflame is a Pokemon I really need to get rid of heavy hitters, especially since I was in the senior division. Mega Venusaur grew very popular. I think 2 out of the top 4 players at seniors, nationals, US nationals. I believe Paul Chua and Mackenzie both used Mega Venusaur to get top 4 at US nationals, so I knew I needed a Pokemon that could deal with those Pokemon. Choice Banded Talonflame knocks out Mega Venusaur one hit, well, most of them, and it was very helpful. Gale Wings, Priority, Brave Bird, not much to explain there. My moveset was Brave Bird to abuse the Gale Wings. I'm not going to use Flame Body. Flare Blitz because Choice Banded Flare Blitz still does a lot to Pokemon. I went for U-Turn because it allowed me to hit some dark types and switch out if necessary. And I decided, since I was banded and I'm going to be locked into one move, Quick Guard would probably be the move that I could actually use with a Choice Band, because I don't mind being locked into Quick Guard if I can spam it over and over again. There are obviously many options in Taunt, Will-O-Wisp, etc., but I decided Quick Guard is the way to go. Now the EV spread, this EV spread's a bit unique. You can see that I'm running about no speed at all. Well, here's the thing. Originally I was using standard 4 HP, 252 Talonflame, but I always ended up losing the speed tie in practice, and that was something I just really didn't want to press my luck at Worlds. So I decided to use a different kind of Talonflame. I decided that the Talonflame I would use would survive Choice Band Talonflame's Brave Bird 100% of the time and then knock back. It can also survive Mega Mawile Sucker Punch and Bisharp's Choice Banded Sucker Punch 100% of the time and KO back with a Brave Bird or Flare Blitz. So 124 HP and 108 defense allowed me to survive that Choice Banded Talonflame's Brave Bird and more. Max attack because Talonflame doesn't have an impressive attack stat, unfortunately. Only 81, and that's very low compared to the rest of the metagame for an offensive Pokemon. I gave it 20 special defense. Since I did have some HP investment, I might as well give it a bit of bulk in special defense. And 4 in speed, which was left over anyway. So this Talonflame was kind of interesting. It moves after Jolly Mega Kangaskhan's Sucker Punch, and most likely Adamant Sucker Punch as well. But it's tricky to use it since I often could not use Sucker Punch and Brave Bird if I paired Kangaskhan and Talonflame together, which made me conceal the fact that my Talonflame was bulky. So I definitely had to play around that, and it was a bit difficult, but really, this Talonflame was worth it, and I could not have asked for a better spread. Okay, my next Pokemon was Hydreigon, and I went with Choice Specs Hydreigon. I also had a bit of a problem with Aegislash, as Aegislash is a super bulky Pokemon. And I knew I wanted something that could take care of it, and Hydreigon hits like a truck, and it's so powerful that I decided, why not go Choice Specs Hydreigon? For the moveset, I went with Draco Meteor because it is Hydreigon's best stab move. I was thinking of using Dragon Pulse instead of Draco Meteor, but decided I need to get those KOs on bulky Pokemon such as Rotom Wash before Rotom Wash gets annoying and starts spreading status. Fire Blast. I chose Fire Blast because even though Flamethrower has 100% accuracy, and trust me, I would have loved to have Flamethrower throughout the entire Worlds tournament, Fire Blast allowed me to OHKO Raise Mega Mawile, which is a careful Mega Mawile with a lot of special bulk, where Flamethrower did not allow me to do that. Fire Blast gave me a 100% chance to OHKO Raise Mawile, and even though I probably never even faced a Mega Mawile at the actual tournament, it was nice to know that I could still KO that option if it was there. Dark Pulse, it's Hydreigon's best Dark-type stab move, and it also has that chance to flinch, which is nice. And KOs most Aegislashes. Well, not KOs, does a lot of damage to most Aegislashes, and has a good chance to OHKO standard 252, 252 for Edge Slashes, which is very nice. Flash Cannon is an interesting option. I chose Flash Cannon because I wanted to hit Gardevoir, and even though Earth Power and Dragon Pulse were probably better options, I decided that I would like to have coverage for everything possible. And even though I actually never used Flash Cannon during the actual event, I probably would switch Flash Cannon now for Earth Power or Dragon Pulse. Probably Dragon Pulse because I missed a few Draco Meteors at Worlds. This EV spread, it's very standard, and the reason for the standardness is everyone kept using a Hydreigon that could live Dragon Claw from Garchomp at Nationals, and that meant that they weren't investing max speed, and I thought I would take advantage of that by putting max speed so I can pretty much outspeed any Hydreigon, Choice Specs Hydreigon that was modest and was trying to survive that Dragon Claw from Garchomp. This worked relatively well as I pretty much was able to outspeed everything, and in my practice I was able to outspeed every single Hydreigon there was. So there was nothing wrong with going 252 for this spread. I went with max special attack because I needed that chance to Edge Slash, and I wanted the most damage with Draco Meteors. We have our next Pokemon, which is Amoonguss, and Amoonguss played a very valuable role on this team. The item I gave it was Rocky Helmet, so I could switch into a possible fake out from Kangaskhan, Mega Kangaskhan, and it would take some Rocky Helmet damage, which would be nice. I also gave it the ability Regenerator, so I could switch out and heal back because Spore is chance and I don't like my luck, so I'd rather have a 100% guarantee, and Regenerator really came in handy at Worlds and basically in all my practice. The moveset is pretty standard, with Giga Drain being a nice move to also heal Amoonguss, hits Rotom Wash decently. Spore, because it's Amoonguss, Spore is its primary thing, sporing all the threats and basically putting those Pokemon to sleep. Rage Powder, so it can redirect attacks. As you can see from this team, I have very heavy attackers, and Rage Powder will allow Amoonguss to take those attacks from my failure Pokemon, and my other Pokemon can get some heavy damage off on the other team. Protect was just mandatory on Amoonguss because it basically allowed me to bait a double attack for opponents who were afraid of Spore and set up some heavy damage with my other Pokemon. It also helped Amoonguss in case there were threats on the field. So the EV spread, it's kind of standard. I went max HP because Amoonguss has incredible HP and I wanted to abuse the Regenerator. I gave it 84 defense because even though I could have went more defense, I didn't think it was necessary, as that high HP stat already helps me so much. I went 172 special defense with a Sassy Nature, 0 speed IVs as well. So basically my idea with Amoonguss was counter Trick Room, because in the senior division, Trick Room is usually a very popular and common thing at Worlds. And even though Trick Room was basically non-existent at all the Nationals, it still has been everything in the senior division at Worlds, and luckily my hunch was correct, since a lot of Trick Room teams top cut 2014 Senior Worlds, which I'm glad I actually did put Amoonguss if I did run into those. Because in Trick Room, Amoonguss is probably going to be the slowest thing on the field, it can set up spores and just annoy heck out of the team, so even if Trick Room was up, Amoonguss still gave me control over the game. We have Azumarill as my next Pokemon, and Azumarill, it's a very interesting Pokemon. It wasn't used in Black and White and Black and White 2, but in X and Y it was given that awesome Fairy typing, which meant Azumarill actually has great potential now, especially that it gets a Fairy type stab, and it has pretty good coverage now. I gave Azumarill Citrus Berry because I'm running a Belly Drum set. Ability is huge power. I mean, Azumarill's attack stat is base 50, so you really need that huge power to do damage. Play Rough is Azumarill's best stab move. Even though it has a chance to miss, it's still a 90 base power move, and you really can't complain with that. Aqua Jet gave Azumarill priority. With Belly Drum, I could get a +6 attack on a Pokemon, and usually knock it out if it wasn't resisted. Belly Drum because I did try some other Azumarill variants with Choice Band, Assault Vest, and none of those were really my style. I went with Belly Drum because I used it throughout the season. had some great success, and it's never failed me before. For the EV spread, I did go 212 HP EVs in order to give it an even HP stat, which means Citrus Berry would activate after I got a belly drum up. Max attack, so in case that Azumarill doesn't get a belly drum up, it would still be a threat on the field, and also, when it does get a belly drum up, it's a really big threat and it hits hard. For defense, because it was leftover EVs, I went with 20 special defense, just to take special hits better, like Thunderbolt from Rotoms, and 20 speed, just because I want to outspeed those no-speed Mawile, and I want to speed type of Raise Mawile. I never had any problems with speed, and this Azumarill did its work, especially in practice. And we go to the Mega Pokemon. We have Kangaskhan, holding a Kangaskhan Knight as its Mega Stone. The ability Scrappy. The ability Scrappy was in order to hit ghost types such as Aegislash and Gengar, who tries to set up, but I could fake out first turn and do heavy damage or set up with my other Pokemon. Really, Kangaskhan's role in this team was fake out support. I really just put Kangaskhan on this team just for fake out support, as it gave Azumarill a chance to belly drum, Amoonguss to get a free spore off, and the rest of my Pokemon to do heavy damage. But I found later that Kangaskhan was doing a lot more than just that, and it was really useful. Even though I knew that Worlds was probably going to be anti-Kangaskhan meta, I decided, as long as I can play smart and get rid of threats to Kangaskhan, it could still be a huge threat. I mean, we've seen Kangaskhan do so well at every event so far, and you might as well use Kangaskhan. It's already proven itself so good, and there's no reason not to use it if it's already good. For its moveset, I went Return. Return, I tested Double Edge, and I really don't want to use Frustration just because of personal preferences, but I went for Return because it's Kangaskhan's reliable damage move, and I did not want to use Double Edge because I really don't like the recoil on the Kangaskhan, because I feel like I'd rather just get reliable damage than getting super powerful damage and hurting yourself. I also didn't want to go Facade because Facade is a really weak base power of 70, and most likely I wasn't going to get burned or Thunder Wave that much. At least that was in my mindset. You guys should check out my Worlds report and see how many Thunder Waves I had to deal with. Power Punch, because I tested it out with Hammer Arm Kangaskhan, but it really wasn't doing damage at all, and I did not like the fact that I usually had to switch out Kangaskhan every time I used a Hammer Arm, and it wouldn't even get the KOs most of the time. So I decided Power Punch makes Kangaskhan a threat. I can pair it with Azumarill. I could fake out Belly Drum first turn, and then protect Azumarill, get Power Punch, and have two very big threats on the field. So that was my preference there. Sucker Punch, because even though I tested Crunch out before to hit Aegislash, I decided that I'm going to need a priority, even though I already have two other priorities in Aquagen and Brave Bird. Priority still helps me, especially if I get like Icy Wind or Thunder Wave. At least I could still hit. As for the EV spread, since this was the most common Kangaskhan spread, and most Kangaskhan's during the time before Worlds were either Adamant, or they were jolly not running max speed, I decided that I would take advantage of that and run max speed Kangaskhan. It's really proven itself well already in the earlier metagame, and I decided, why not just go back to that early meta? Instead of having a bulky Kangaskhan, you can have a fast Kangaskhan who's usually guaranteed to get the fake out. Especially since I'm using Kangaskhan mostly for fake out, that I need to have the best chance of getting that fake out off on my opponent. So that's the reason for the EV spread. I was testing a bit around the attack EVs. I was originally running 100 HP, 156 attack in order to survive Final Gamut from Staraptor. There's only one Staraptor at Worlds and I never even faced it. But I found out that Kangaskhan really wasn't doing the damage it needed with 156 attack. So I decided just to put back the attack EVs and give it 4 HP. So that is my Worlds team. I hope you guys liked this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, follow me on Twitter, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out my report on nuggetbridge.com. especially if you guys want to know about the battles that I had at Worlds. All of them are going to be in that report, so be sure to check that out. I'll see you guys next time.